Hey all, welcome to this week's CIOPCC Top 10 list. I know we've done a lot of top 10s recently, but that's because of the end of the year and everything. And I want to get us back on a regular schedule where we're doing top 10s on Mondays. So today we're going to look at one of my favorite Batman villains. I'll actually do a top 10 Batman villain list eventually, but this one is going to be just for one specific villain. You know, I love the monster villains, Clayface, Man-Bat, Scarecrow. My favorite, Killer Croc. He's a great villain. And we've gotten a good number of figures from him. Not enough, but a good number. So I'm going to do my top 10 Killer Croc action figures. First one is from Mattel. Comes out of the Batman cartoon. I liked a lot of the designs in this. Croc is not my favorite because he's a little more crocodile and a little less human than I really prefer. But he's not bad. And they did a pretty good job of translating this whole line into 3D. So let's move back over here and we'll talk about another Mattel line. Mattel's done a lot of Killer Crocs. And back in the day, they did a line that you can see up here at the top shelf called Batman. And in that line, they did this Killer Croc. Now, he's got a lot of malevolence in that line, especially for a kid's line. Torn shirt. It's a good looking figure hiding back there. But they actually altered that a bit. That's actually the first of several that they did. I'll show you more in a minute. But let's talk about the Kenner Batman the Animated Series in number 8. This is a nice figure for the time. Remember, this is early 90s. He was well done. Again, this is a kid's line. We're not trying to give a perfect, articulation or high-end sculpts or anything. This was a kid's line, and Kenner did a nice job with it. Mattel was actually shooting more for the collector's line to go along with the kids line. And when they switched the labeling on that series from Batman to the DC superheroes, they also changed up the design of Killer Croc. Here you can see the 12-inch version from that series. Great looking figure. Except he has to lean too far back. His center of gravity is screwed up. That's why he ends up number 7 on the list and not higher. And in fact, his 6-inch counterpart, which they did as part of the DC superhero line, does end up in number 6 spot. Remember I said they switched to this DC superheroes logo, marketing for the line, branding, and there he is up there as part of that new branding. Now that line morphed into next the DC Universe Classics, and then that morphed into the multiverse eventually. So let's go over here and talk about a DC Direct release for number 5 from Secret Files. This was a good wave in general. I think there was a Penguin and a Mr. Freeze as well that came in this way from DC Direct. But I really like this particular design. DC Direct didn't give us enough Killer Crocs. We could have used a few more from them. Number 4, I did say they picked up the Batman the Animated Series line and did 3 different versions. 2 of them are going to be on the list here. Here's my number 4 pick. McFarlane is going to be re-releasing this guy. It's a good sculpt, but he's not my favorite. I prefer the one from the earlier show, Batman the Animated Series here. They did a nice job with him. I like this color as well. But as I said, now this one gets my number 3 spot. But they did a 3rd Killer Croc release that was part of the Rogues Gallery pack. And you can see he's inside there, behind bars, in a slightly darker color. So number 2 on the list is also going to be from Mattel. You'll come over here. They did their multiverse figures, as you can see, before McFarlane ever did theirs. And this is the Build-A-Figure Killer Croc they produced. He's getting my number 2 slot. We don't get enough big, huge, massive Killer Crocs. They tend to be just scaled in with the same scale as everybody else. And I like these big, bulky ones. So he gets number 2. You'll notice there's another Killer Croc next to him there. He's not in the top 10. That's the movie version. And down here is number 1, back to DC Direct. This is the Arkham Asylum. This is the game version that they did. You can see the packaging there of the other figures in back. This is a great figure. Nice and big and bulky again. Really evil looking. Much more mature audience with this series. And so he gets my #1. Now, if you have some on your list that I have not talked about here, please let me know. I'm always up for finding some new Killer Crocs. As I said, we'll do some other top 10 Batman villains as we go along in 2024. And, of course, make sure you subscribe and have a great week.